Welcome to Unlearning, where we go behind the curtain for an insider's perspective on the theater industry, break down the buzzworthy conversations on social media, and challenge the stigmas that hold us back. I'm Veronica Stern, and together we're unlearning and redefining what it means to thrive in the business. Now it's time to rewrite the script. Hello, wonderful people of the world, and welcome to the Unlearning podcast. Today I have a guest on my show that has been in 5 Broadway shows, including one that is currently in tech, Pirates of Penzance at Roundabout Theater Company. His name is Nathan Lucrezio, and I am so excited for you all to hear all about his career and all of the fun stories that he has to tell. Before we do, though, I want to talk to you about a little show that I saw this weekend called Drag the Musical. Here it is right here. Guest and friend of the show, Nicholas Kraft, is in the ensemble of this show and also understudies the role of Tom. I have nothing but amazing things to say about this show. It's about 2 drag houses that are like running out of money. It's wildly fun. It is so high energy, and the music is so good. I cannot recommend it enough. I believe it closes April 27th. So please go and see this show. It's at New World Stages. It is so amazing, and make sure you say hello to Nicholas when you go. So that's really all I have to say. Oh, there's one other thing. This is our 10th episode of Unlearning, and I am so grateful to everybody that's been listening and that's been tuning in, that's been engaging with our social clips. It means so much to me, and I can't wait for the next 10. I think you guys are going to absolutely love the guests that we have lined up. But for now, I hope that you enjoy my conversation with Nathan. Nathan, thank you so much for being on Unlearning.
Thank you for having me.
I'm very excited to talk with you. And let it be known at the top of the show that Nathan is currently in tech for Pirates of Penzance at Roundabout, right? So I'm eternally grateful that you're here right now. I can only imagine how intense tech is for you. And that show as well is like, it's pretty massive, no?
It's big. I mean, and they're rewriting it,
That's right.
remounting it. It's still very much honoring and the story of Pirates of Penzance, but it has a different twist. It's set in New Orleans.
That's right.
Which is very exciting. And we have Jinx Monsoon, which we're so excited to have.
Okay,
she's amazing. Yeah, she's so great.
That's insane. I can't wait to see that.
Just like, and David Hyde Pierce and Ramin. So we've all been having a lot of fun. It's been such a love letter to Gilbert and Sullivan, and just learning a lot about their story and the original. And this Rupert is rewriting it. I say that like he is. He's like, it feels like we're doing a new musical.
Oh, I was going to ask, because this is not your first time doing a revival?
No, this is my second official revival.
Or was Cinderella a revival?
I wasn't there for the creative process.
Okay.
I joined as a replacement.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Yeah.
So this is your second time being in the room, like getting it mounted and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So you were also in Tommy, which was
yes.
last season. So what is it like putting up a revival? You kind of alluded to it with Pirates, which is like, this is a totally new process, but is it kind of that feeling of what came before is what we're doing, or is there an energy of like, this is completely new, but like we all know the source material?
That's it. What you just said is literally it. It's the source material, but it's in a completely different setting. Mardi Gras, like just fun, exciting, and like the music is jazzy. We are still doing like, I am the modern major of a modern general, like that song. I can't even do the lyrics. It's my day off. I'm still in tech. But like we're doing the original piece. We're just zhuzhing it up a little bit. And I get to play like a pirate and a policeman. I also understudy the police sergeant, which has been exciting because I don't know the show. Like I didn't know the show beforehand, but
I feel like
everybody knows it.
Oh, really? I was about to say, I feel like a very niche amount of people know that show. And it's like kids that like thought they were going to be like opera singers and like middle school because their teacher gave them Poor Wandering One. I may or may not be talking from personal experience. And then you're like, what is Pirates of Penzance? And then you're like, I actually kind of want to just do musical theater.
Yeah, well, and they're making it more musical theater with this version.
Interesting.
And even like the branding of it.
Yeah, it's very fun.
And changing the title, Pirates, ! The Penzance Musical. So it's not.
Oh.
Yeah. So
I
they like changed
realize.
the title. So it feels like, getting back to your original question, like it feels like we're doing a new musical. We're getting new pages. We're getting lyric changes, dialogue changes consistently.
Wow.
And I had that experience with Diana doing an original musical, but in a revival, you just don't expect that as much. Right. But that's what's made it so fun. Like, personally, it's made it so fun. And we have like the blessing to go forward and like do that with this production. And Scott Ellis, the director, and Warren Carlyle are just amazing. They work so well together. It has been a learning experience just watching them put this production up. And then, last year I was in Tommy, and I booked Pirates while I was in Tommy, just like
iconic,
like a month before we closed, which was a blessing. But Tommy was interesting because I got to do it with Des, who was the original director of the original production of Tommy.
Wow.
And he had all of the wisdom and the stories and the source material of what Tommy was. But they wanted to do a revival that was 2020. Well, we did it in the Goodman in 2023, and then Broadway was 2024. Tommy.
Okay.
So to like have a new exciting version of that production, which was already iconic. Yeah. Back in the 90s.
Totally.
We didn't really get script changes. Like, there were small changes, but it was more about the presentation of the piece as opposed to the actual script.
That's
if that makes sense.
I think it does. So you're saying, like, for Tommy, are you saying there wasn't as much like creative nuance and like newness because it's this beloved thing that was more recent than Pirates, so there was less of a feeling of it's time to change it all up?
Well, there was less change to the actual script of it, like the lyrics and the lines. It was just presented in a very different 2024 way, which had to do with a lot of like a sleek design that David Corns did. Right. We had a lot of like we had these light bars that were kind of futuristic. We had these helmets that made us look like we were going to outer space for one scene. We had to move the set completely on our own. Which was it was actually really cool that how we did that. Kind of felt like this amoeba of transitions and things that like the whole cast would do. Sure. It was absolutely incredible. Like when I got to step out in tech and watch what we were creating, I was blown away. I was absolutely blown away by what they were doing. On top of the light bars, we had screens. Like the whole set was screens. And we had like video that we were using, sort of like Sunset Boulevard, you know. It had that same kind of edgy feel to it. And then to go into Pirates, which is like, there's no screens.
It's very like classic.
Like classic musical theater, operetta, opera, like all of it put together, comedy. You know, like Tommy was very intense, hardly any clapping, hardly any breaks in the audience, you know, and then to be on stage with the comic genius of David Hyde Pierce. It's just like a 180. But they're both revivals.
Super interesting. And I think it's such an interesting thing with like revivals in general now in this like last like 2 or 3 years. I feel like more creative risk has been taken, which is like super fun and super exciting to see. So it's very awesome and fun that you have gotten the chance to like kind of be a part of both spectrums of that.
It's been great.
You kind of alluded to it, but you have run the gamut in terms of the Broadway shows that you've been a part of. I'm gonna read them. So it's Cinderella, not in no particular order. No order. Cinderella, Aladdin, Diana, Tommy, and Pirates. And then you said of those 5, 3 of them have been like from
the ground up.
So I would love to talk to you kind of about what that difference is, because I've now had the fortune of doing 2 tours where I was a replacement. And I kind of talked about this in another episode with a friend of mine, where when you're a replacement in a show, the train is just like moving and like you just like have to jump on it. And it's such a different experience than getting the fortune of like starting on day 1 and just like being fresh out of the gate. And so I'm wondering for you, not is there a preference? Obviously, it's like we can only be so preferential in this career. But I'm wondering, what are the biggest differences for you in terms of longevity and your feelings of like, oh, when I'm a replacement, I feel like I am entering this space that's not really mine. How do I make it mine? And kind of how that all goes for you.
Well, it was interesting that my 2 biggest show, like my Broadway debut, I was a replacement. And then the next show, I was a replacement. And I was there for 4 years. So like it's kind of, I didn't, obviously, we never know how we're going to make our Broadway debut or how that's going to come into our lives. I didn't really know, I think, what it all entailed to be a replacement. Because prior to being in Cinderella, you know, I had done like the national tour of a chorus line, which I started from the top. I had done musical theater where you went to Penn State, and every season you start the show from the beginning, you end it. So, and the interesting thing about Cinderella and Aladdin was I had auditioned like 12 times for the show over like a year and a half, and for both productions. And I thought, well, hopefully I'll get into them. And when I got into Cinderella, I was working at Ellen Stardust Diner.
No way.
I was working at, yes.
Oh my gosh.
I had always wanted to work at Stardust Diner, and I finally got hired in like, what was it, April of 2013.
Wow.
And I had the best time, met so many friends. I got to sing all my pop songs, all the things that I wanted to do. And I was serving a table and never forget it. And my phone rang. And I was like, I got to go. I mean, I took their order. And then I ran away, and it was Cindy Tolan, was a casting office. And they were like, hey, we might need a replacement for Cinderella like this week.
No way.
And I was like, what? They're like, yeah. And I went back to the table, gave them their food, sang a song, finished out my shift. And then literally like the next day, I think I was like at a fitting or something, because I had to go and make sure that I could fit in the costumes.
Oh, so it was one of those situations.
Yeah.
It was like, you match, you might get this job, but like if it's an inch off, then no.
Yeah. I mean, because it's so expensive.
Yes, of course.
You know, they have to save their pennies. You know, they're like, oh, well, we'll get the best that we can as long as all of these things check the box. Which is insane. That's very humbling to like realize. But
yeah. So you had auditioned, and then you got the call, and they were like, "But come try on."
Yeah, I think
costumes.
I had to try on costumes. I'm pretty sure. Oh my God,
that would have stressed me out.
I did
so
it twice, which is crazy. Because I joined, and then 6 months later I switched tracks, and I still had to do a fitting for the other track. Like, it's no joke. They loved me, but they were like, "Let's make sure these costumes also work."
Wow.
But the crazy thing about Cinderella, they wanted me to go in for somebody that had an injury from walking on stilts, because in the beginning of the show, there was this huge tree monster that would walk on stage in a 60 to 70 pound costume on stilts and fight. Like, that was the first sequence, would fight Santino Fontana. And I was like, I've never walked on stilts in my life.
Yeah.
I don't really know how this is going to work, but okay. Ended up getting like hired, you know, like got the call on like a Tuesday. I'm in rehearsal like by Friday, whatever.
And they weren't like, do you have any prior experience on stilts? They were just like, you're just going to do
it. Someone there, one of the producers, Robin, she was wanting me to get in the show. And I think they were just like, he'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, I mean, this is Unlearning, and I'm telling you everything. So, and it's been a long time. So, when I started to do the work on the stilts, I fell in rehearsal. So that was like after 2 days in, I was so embarrassed, but they're like, you'll be fine, keep going. And then I got in the costume on like I'd been there like a week. And they had understudy rehearsal. And as I'm in the costume for the first time, walking on stage, the understudies all come on stage and like surround me and start clapping. And I'm like, thank you so much. But also, I'm going to die. Like, what are you doing? And you had to get out of the costume, you had to fall back and people had to catch you.
Oh my gosh.
So then I remember getting out, everybody's clapping for me, and I was freaked out. And I ran outside and I called my dad and I'm just crying. And I'm like, I think I might have to walk away from my Broadway debut. I don't think I can do this. And mind you, it was one scene and he had a whole ensemble track. So, but I really was there, to make sure that I could do all of it.
Right.
And I walked into the stage management office. I'll never forget it. And I said, if you want me to do this, you have to get me in that costume every day. And they were like, well, we will work with you. I've never seen 3 stage managers just look at me and be like, you're gonna be able to do this. Like, it's fine. And I made it. And I actually grew to like love it.
Walking on stilts.
Yes, I like loved it. I became so good at it.
Wow.
And it like just became an adrenaline rush, like something I completely feared and was so scared at. Like I just embraced it so much. And, I got to do everything else. I got to understudy. So, sorry, I'm all over the place.
No,
6 months later,
yeah,
I then switched tracks because his name was Peter. He came back.
Okay.
And it worked out perfectly. I had like the week of Christmas off.
Aww.
Came back for my friend Kevin Worley. He went to go do Bullets Over Broadway. And then I took over his track and understudied Lord Pinkleton and Jean-Michel.
Okay, you know what I'm realizing? Who was your Cinderella?
Well, I had many. Few. I worked with Laura, and then I worked with Carly Rae Jepsen.
No.
Keke Palmer.
Wait, stop. Wait, Nathan, I probably saw you.
Yeah, you probably did.
Because I saw Keke Palmer.
Yeah.
I'm going to, after this, I'm going to go upstairs to my playbills and I'm going to like search.
I'm probably in there.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe you saw me as Jean-Michel or not Lord Pinkleton. Maybe Lord Pinkleton.
Wait, that's so wild to me.
Yeah.
That's such an interesting story. And I love that you tell the part about wanting to give up, because I think so much in any industry, everybody has that thing that they just like can't get over, or they're just like, how am I gonna figure this thing out? But I love that you like spoke up for yourself. I also love that like stage management was like, yes, we will do everything we can to make sure that you can do this. And like, it's just the autonomy that it takes to know that like that's okay is something that I've definitely had to like unlearn, for lack of a better term. But it's so scary because I don't know if when you were in college you ever got the mindset of like just figure it out on your own. I definitely did. And so I don't know if I would have been able to speak up for myself in that scenario, but that's awesome.
I think just because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't stepping into something that I couldn't do, or like that I was going to fail at, and then, that would be not good for them, not good for the production, but they had me and they were like, you're going to be able to do this. And so getting back to like replacement as opposed to like building something that had been built for Peter, that hadn't been built for me. And if I was in the beginning, I would have been like, hey y'all, can we tweak this? Or, this feels better. Or why are we doing it that way? I'd like to do this move. But when it's already set, your job as a replacement is to come in and do it as close as you can to what was originally set.
Right.
And then in Aladdin, it was kind of the same thing.
Right.
Auditioned a bunch, and then I thought I was gonna join in February of 2015, but I didn't get the job, and I was so sad. It was like I can't even. I think I was in to like cover Aladdin, and it was me and Rodney Ingram. It was like me and him. And I didn't know Rodney at the time, but I never forgot him. And then he joined, he got the job. And then like 3 months later, I got offered a completely different track, which was a heavy dance track, which was perfect for me. So it made sense that I would have waited to go into the track. And I remember Michael Minlin, the dance captain, saying to me and Casey were just waiting for the right time to get you in the show. We wanted to get you in the show. And so, sometimes timing is everything. And,
timing is really everything.
And I was sad. I was like, oh, I could have been, here 3 months earlier, but like, whatever.
Right. I'm wondering, what did you do in those 3 months? Like, did you have another job?
I had another job. I was up for like 5 shows at the time.
Oh, look, casual.
At the time, I was up for like Dr. Zhivago, Aladdin, something else. Like there were a few other shows, and then like Man of La Mancha at Shakespeare Theatre Company.
And then you did that.
And I did that instead, yeah. But it was funny. I didn't want to go. I was like, I don't want to go to, I want to be here. I want to be on Broadway. And then I had like the best time of my life.
That's like
in DC.
always what happens. And I will never forget last year when I was offered to come on the road with Les Mis, I had a voice lesson, and my voice teacher, and I was like complaining because, what else do you do in voice lessons? And I was like, I just don't know if I want to go on the road again. And like, I just like, I don't know. Like I did, complaining. Yeah. And my voice teacher was like, first of all, Veronica, do you know how many people would love to have that job? And if you don't want it, just like let it go. But also you don't know what you don't know about this job, Yeah. Okay, so you're going on tour again. But also this could be like the best 7 months of your life. Yeah. And it could be, you could meet amazing new friends. And I'll never forget that, because when he said that, I was like, you know what? Yeah. That's a really good point. And I ended up having, I wouldn't say the best time of my life, because I just don't like tour in general, but like I did meet amazing new friends, and I had so many other things that if I hadn't said yes to that, I would have never known. Yeah. So it's super interesting. It's always the job where you're like, I don't want to do this.
Crazy, like, I met some great friends there, and Amber Iman was our Dulcinea.
Oh my God, iconic.
Yeah, like I remember meeting her and being like, she's a star.
Yeah.
And my friend Sydney, who starred in Paradise Square. That's where I met Sydney.
Wow.
Yeah, like you do these jobs, right? And it's not Broadway. It's not the top of the top of the top. I'm like, Shakespeare Theatre Company is pretty much the top. Like they're an incredible regional house, and I had never heard of them until I started auditioning for them, and literally like I learned so much. Andy Warlow was our was the guy. Oh my gosh, this is bad. I'm forgetting names.
In Man of La Mancha?
He was the lead guy. Cervantes, whatever whatever the lead guy's name is. It's been so long.
Brian Stokes Mitchell.
That part, yes.
Oh, okay.
He played that part. Oh my gosh. It's been 10 years. Don't judge me. But like, he's a huge star in Australia. And
How
like
funny.
getting to learn from him
Yeah.
and watch him. And then I met his understudy. His name is Dan Sharkey. And Dan went to my small little town.
You're kidding.
There's a theater called Hubbard Hall in Cambridge, New York. And he's like, oh yeah, I worked at Hubbard Hall. It's just like this, the community is so small. So it doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah.
It's, if there's good work happening, it's good work. Doesn't matter where it is.
Speaking of good work, let's talk about Diana the musical.
Yeah.
You like that transition?
I love that transition.
All right. So I am one of the people that saw Diana the musical on Netflix. Let's just like that whole era of theater is genuinely going to be studied in the history books. Yep. So if I have my memory correct, Diana was supposed to open pre-pandemic.
Yes.
And then obviously it shut down. And then you guys like came back in like this like not top secret, but like special project way. Netflix filmed it for some reason. And then like it kind of has this life of like cult classic, like people really that love it really love it. Yes. So I'm wondering if you could just tell us like a little bit about that experience. Yeah. And also, what is it like to film a pro shot, I guess, is that technically what it was? Like a pro shot, and then find out that it's going to be for Netflix. Like, what went through your mind?
Well,
there's so many layers. I'm sorry.
Diana changed my life.
Really?
Like, absolutely changed my life. It is one of the most fun, out of this world experiences I've ever been a part of. I have made family, like friends that are now family from that production. And okay, so when I was doing Aladdin, I was looking to do other shows. This is about 2.5, 3 years in. I was like, all right, I'm ready to like move on to whatever is next. And I really want to be in an original Broadway cast. And I had auditioned for Diana for like their dance lab and got cut. And I was like, ugh, I remember going to West Elm and shopping and being so upset. I was like, I'll just buy some furniture. And then like a month and a half later, I got called in randomly to read for Andrew Morton, who is, he is the guy that wrote the book on Diana back in the 80s that like was scandalous and it was a look into her life. And they had to be very secretive about, writing this book. I was like, I don't look like him. He's this tall Englishman. He's 6'4". Like, why am I going in for this part? But I did. And they loved me. It was one scene, one song. They were cracking up. And I remember going and people were like dancing their faces off. And they were like, you don't need to dance, Nathan. We know. I was like, okay, well, you cut me whatever. Yeah. So then I ended up booking the job.
Whoa.
For La Jolla. So Diana went to La Jolla first. And I'd never been to La Jolla. I will go back. I'm just saying that. I will go back. I loved it there.
I've always wanted to work there. I just love California.
It is awesome. Yeah. San Diego's beautiful. Ugh. They are so sweet. Like the theater is great. You're on the campus and it just has like this collegiate feel, but you're doing theater. Like
that sounds like exactly what I love.
Yeah, I loved it. And they had like 3 graduate students that were able to be a part of the program.
Oh, that's so
cool. Yeah, and like they put you up in housing and you feel like you're at summer camp, and we would just play games and after rehearsal and just talk about like, oh, the show, what is it going to be? Because it's Diana. Like,
right. Like,
it's so iconic.
You were aware of like what it was going to be and what it could be.
I might be saying the story wrong, but this is what's in my head. Chris Ashley, the first day, was like, if you wanted to get knighted and you're a part of this production, it's probably not going to happen for you. So we kind of knew there was like this dangerous aspect to it because you're touching on a beloved historical figure.
Right.
And David Bryan is doing the music, rock music, 80s rock music for Diana. Okay. And then Joe DiPietro is writing the book. So it's the Memphis team.
Right.
Okay. This feels like a jump, right? Right. But it made all the sense in the world.
And I haven't watched it in a minute, but I don't remember it being satirical. Like it was very like, this is about Princess Diana and we are like going to be as respectful as possible. So it wasn't like you were going into it being like,
no, they wrote it and everything they wrote is based on something. I think that's the biggest misconception. It's like they weren't writing it to be from what I saw, they weren't writing it to be like, let's make this so camp so that like all the gays want to sing it at, at karaoke night. That's not that was not what they were. I feel like that's sort of where it went in the end.
Yeah.
But they wrote it in earnest and it really is like when you study it and you read the book and you see what Joe did, you're like, oh my gosh. And he covered so much ground within the story. They went to London and they wrote An Officer's Wife. Like they wrote that in London. And they wanted each character to have their own sound. And La Jolla, we had Diana's father was a part of it at one point. Wow. We had a young girl that played the like 10-year-old version of Diana. So as in any new musical, it goes through so much change. Like Sarah Spencer wasn't even a part. Diana's sister was not a part until it came to Broadway.
Really?
And Joe wrote it and Holly Butler, kind of with Holly Butler in mind.
Wow.
And it was perfect. It like made so much sense that would happen. But when we went to Broadway the first time, we, things were happening with the coronavirus. And I remember one of our cast members was like, my boyfriend is telling us that it's going to like shut down for 4 weeks. And I was like, girl, you're crazy. Like that's not going to happen. And we were teching my scene because I have this song. It's called The Words Came Pouring Out. It's great. And the second act that Andrew sings, we were teching it on that Thursday and they were like, all right, Broadway is shut down. Our producer came in and she's like, I have to sit down. We're going to go away. Hopefully we'll come back. And then, obviously we all know what happened, but they got money to do a a Zoom lab. So after we realized we're not going back,
right,
they did a Zoom lab. I had a Broadway dance lab contract that I was doing in my living room.
No.
So I was doing choreography in my living room, and Kelly Devine's like, giving us notes.
Well,
it was, and
buffers.
then they're like, take a 10-minute break, and I'm sitting on my couch. I'm on an Equity 10 in my house. Like, it was so bizarre.
Oh, no.
But it made me just love that they were doing it. And then they redid the whole beginning.
Really? So this was all happening during the pandemic?
Yes. They were rewriting it during the pandemic.
Wow. Good for them.
Oh, they're incredible. We listened. They oh my God, I just forgot this and I'm learning it. We would record our parts and then they spliced together a version and we got to hear the whole beginning.
Wow.
And we would have music rehearsal on Zoom.
I'm sure you were so
crazy.
Grateful for that.
Oh yeah, we got paid. We got paid.
Well, yeah.
We got paid to do work during the
Wow.
I was thrilled.
Good for them.
Yeah. And then it was Gina Duvall who played our Diana.
Yes.
She was we were up in Maine somewhere, social distancing from everybody. And she was like, I think we're going to be doing Netflix. I was like, what? She's
really? What does that even mean?
I didn't know what that meant. I was like, she's like, I think we're going to be filming for Netflix. And then they created a bubble.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
We went to Jersey and we all had to create this COVID bubble that we could work and do.
Where did you guys film it?
So in Jersey, we did rehearsal.
Okay.
I keep hitting this.
No,
and then
fine.
we stayed at a hotel in Manhattan.
Okay.
I think the Ink Hotel. And we would walk as a group. We could not see anybody. We had to be masked up and all those things.
Right.
We would walk every day for 2 weeks. We'd go to the theater.
Oh, so you still were in the theater?
Yeah,
okay,
and
that's
then
what I thought.
go back because that was the only way we could do it safely and also in the guidelines.
I'm
the
surprised they didn't
guidelines.
just make everybody sleep in the theater at that point.
I mean, maybe we should have, but
was it? And I'm sorry that I don't remember this, but it came out in 2021, right?
It came out in 2021. We filmed it in 2020.
That's right.
September
okay, so
2020.
you guys were
we were the only theater live.
What was that experience like?
Well, I thought it was insane. I thought it was crazy, but they weren't really broadcasting it, which I understand. They wanted to wait and release all that when the pro shot was released.
Right.
But I just remember thinking it's us and I think Sight and Sound was doing something, which is the theater in Pennsylvania. I was like, it's us and them.
Whoa.
But we had the best time.
Yeah.
Amidst all of the COVID stuff. And we were very, very safe. No one got COVID, which was great.
That's amazing, especially in September 2020.
Yeah. They did it right. And we had front of house and back of house. So we would have to we couldn't see, I couldn't go up and give Kelly Devine a hug.
Right.
We had to, because she was on the front of house. We were back of house.
Wow.
It was bizarre, but we got to film it. We had a whole Netflix crew.
That's amazing.
We'd have to wear our masks and our breaks and then go on stage and do it. And then make sure we were hand sanitizing. They COVID treated our dressing rooms with plexiglass and all this stuff. And then we knew we were going to be back there because they said, we're bringing this back to Broadway in a year. So we filmed it. They released it in October. And then we came back to Broadway in November.
How does it feel to have that piece of your life forever on Netflix?
It's so cool. I mean, I'm sad that it didn't have the reaction that we wanted it to have. You know, people were pretty brutal online, and then we came to Broadway and they were brutal again. But I've had so many people stop me on the street and be like, "You were in Diana the musical." Weren't you? And I was like, yes.
That's so amazing.
It almost feels cooler to be a part of something that has a cult following.
Yes.
That had such controversy.
Sure.
Sure. Because we were super proud of it. We had the best time. The show was so fun to do. It was so fun. It was beautiful. We would be backstage and looking on the monitors, and it was just stunning, the shots that they were getting. And yeah, I feel like it's musical theater history.
It is musical theater history.
I got to be a part of, and I'm proud to have been a part of it.
Yeah.
listen, I don't care how you feel. Like, I really don't. Like, I'm like, great.
At this point, it's just like anybody that says anything bad about Diana is just a hater because it's just like, it's just like, it's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. And someday I will direct and choreograph it. Just saying.
Oh my God, wait, that's going to be so amazing. I can't wait for that. Okay, I read that you were in an episode of Smash.
I was.
Which one? I couldn't figure it out.
There's a Bollywood scene.
Oh no.
And I was in it.
Okay, work.
I was in it. Work. That's a funny story. I was taking Josh Burgas's classes all the time at Broadway Dance Center.
Yeah.
And got this call from Telsey to come in and read. I think I had to say agua or something. I don't even know. Because I was a waiter that Karen and her boyfriend were at with Uma Thurman. And then all of a sudden at this like Indian restaurant, and then all of a sudden it goes into this Bollywood dream.
Yes, I remember it well.
Yeah. And so I had to say agua because it was me and this other waiter that were like a part of the dream. Right. But they were also still in reality. I did not get to say agua. It went to my friend Rami, but I was like, that's fine. I'll dance in the background. So I thought I was going to be like one of the dancers in the back, and I was in the front next to the lead, which was, I don't know his name, but Karen's boyfriend.
I don't remember either.
Yeah. The character Karen's boyfriend.
Okay.
And it was so much fun.
I'm sure. I mean, that's also like history.
Yeah.
Musical theater history.
Oh, yeah. I look so young. Like, I have a full head of hair, you know, like baby face.
Wow.
And it's my, definitely my Lebanese roots coming out. So it was cool.
Do you have not a preference, but you've done a little bit of TV. How do you feel is the experience different? I mean, there's obviously huge differences, but what is your feeling like TV versus musical theater?
They're so different.
They are.
I haven't had enough TV experience to really have an opinion on like what it is to be a series regular on a huge production where like they are your coworkers. I've done like one-day shoots or background work. But theater to me is such a family-run business. It's you are there to serve the piece. It's not about you. You all are like sharing this story with the audience. It's very live. It's very emotional. And then TV and film is like, you go to your trailer, you sit, you come, you do your scene, you go away. You do your scene, you go away. So it's a little more separated.
Sure.
But I've always had fun.
Right.
And I did The Equalizer, and that was during the pandemic. That was 2021. And I thought I was going to be there for like 14 hours to say like 6 lines. And I was there for 2 hours. They were like, great job. Got to do a scene with the lead. And they were like, all right, go home. Like, it's just so different.
It is really different. I actually saw a interview clip with Denzel Washington. It was like promo for Othello. And he was saying that his love and his allegiance, for lack of a better term, is to the theater because that is the actor's art form. Whereas when you do a movie or like, you know, a TV show, the actors don't run that show because it's up to the director and the editor how your performance comes out. And I thought that was so interesting because I was like, wait, that is so true. And I'm definitely butchering like exactly how he said it, but it really made a lot of sense to me where it was like, you, as much as you can be, the actor is in control of their performance on a stage. Because when you go out there, you're told what to do. Yeah. But for those 2 hours, it's like what you do is what you do, and it can't be changed. It can't be altered.
The audience sees that.
Yes, and so it's a really cool art form to be a part of.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a game.
Yes, let's do it.
I feel like it might be dumb, so
okay,
we'll see. Maybe it will get cut. Okay, it's Kiss, Marry, Kill.
Okay.
I was gonna do your Broadway shows.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay, let's do it.
But wait, what does that mean?
Kiss, Marry, Kill. Okay, so
Kiss, Marry, Kill.
Kiss.
I thought it was Kiss Me or Kill. I was like, oh.
Kiss me or kill. No.
Kiss, Marry, Kill.
Kiss, Marry, Kill.
All right.
The 5 Broadway shows. And to remind everyone, it's Cinderella, Aladdin, Tommy. Oh, Diana, Tommy, Pirates.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're not going to kill pirates. Because
okay, what would I kiss, marry, or kill?
And like, kill in a... It doesn't have to be because you hated it or anything like that. It's more so like kill because it's like we don't need to think about that anymore.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I would definitely kiss. I feel like I'm in like a love moment with pirates.
Okay.
So I would kiss pirates right now because I'm just like, you're great. You're so fun.
Mm-hmm.
You're free. I would definitely marry. I want to marry Diana, but I feel like she'd like throw me for like we would get a divorce. So I'm going to say I would marry Aladdin because I was there for so long.
Aladdin
like I
is
have
very
a 401k, very good 401k from Aladdin. So it's like I got to marry Aladdin.
Mm-hmm.
I would kill Tommy only because it was one of the hardest shows I've ever had to do. And like we killed it every night, But I would kill it because I couldn't keep up with that cardio every day. Like it was insane. What we created in that room was insane. So yeah, I guess I'd have to kill Tommy.
Sorry, Tommy. Don't worry.
I still love you. But
it's just a game.
It's only because of the cardio.
So there's a question that I ask every guest.
Okay.
And it is, what does success look like to you now? And how has that changed since, the first time that you maybe stepped into the industry?
Success for me right now, I think it just means having a healthy relationship with the business, with show business, and having connections and friends and relationships in the biz that bring you work that you're excited to do. Like I'm having so much fun just laughing with all my friends on stage. Like the last year, I've done 4 different shows, and I am now at that point in my career where I walk into a room and I'm like, well, I know everybody. Like years ago I didn't, and I had to kind of feel like the newbie. But I just love being like, you're in this, we're gonna have so much fun, and I can't wait to dive into that character or do that scene with you. And consistent work. I think success is like consistent work. But sometimes that doesn't happen. Like sometimes work doesn't happen consistently, and you just have to kind of rest and like, that is the business. And like, I'm going to enjoy it where it is and continue to just hone my craft. And then if you go through a time where things aren't happening, like you still have life to live and experiences to do, and you can get your personal training certificate. You can teach dance. You can teach voice until the next thing. And success is then like knowing all that. Does that make sense? Like knowing what that is so that you're not freaking out every time something bad happens or you don't get that show. I think when I was a kid, I thought success was like being a star.
Sure. Yeah. I think that's what a lot of us think.
Yeah. I think like, cause you see these people, and they really are. They're like titans in the business, and you don't realize that sometimes they don't work for a couple of years, or they have life. Like it's not all just glamour. And you like, oh, to have my own dressing room and to make this kind of money every week, which are great things that you can still strive for, but it doesn't last forever. So what are you doing in between, and what are you planning for in the future? Which is like, I still am figuring it out, really, truly. But like, this is success. Like just sitting here talking to you is like success in the business. Because I've done work. Obviously, if I didn't do anything, I don't know. Like that is, yeah, I don't know. Does that make sense?
It makes so much sense. And it's so fun to talk to someone that has had more years under their belt, and just to see how things can grow in your career. But also so much of what you said is like the uncertainty is still there, and hearing that, but also hearing how you work through it as you get older and you mature into the business. So I'm eternally grateful for all of the gems that you've dropped on us today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Tell everyone where they can find you on socials.
Yes, on the social. It's at Nathan Lucrezio, Lucrezio. And you can find me on Instagram, on the Facebook, and I think those are the two things I'm mostly on. I have my own website, which is just myname.com.
Period.
Yeah, and then I'm also on YouTube.
Okay.
And I had gone through like a time in my life I was telling you where I was doing like music videos and cover pop songs.
Yeah.
So you can see that, and also some Irish dancing.
And most importantly, we'll see you on stage.
Yes. In Pirates.
What theater is it at?
The Todd Hames. On
Theater.
42nd Street.
Right. I like that theater.
It's great. It's the old American Airlines Theater.
Yes.
And it's right next to Harry Potter.
42. That's right.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see Pirates.
Yeah, you're going to love it.
I'm so excited. Nathan, thank you so much
Veronica,
for being on the
podcast.
Me. We will see you all next time.
Yay, bye.
Thank you so much for listening to my conversation with Nathan. I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did. Please be sure to follow me on social media at Veronica Stern on Instagram and at ThatMixedChickNYC on TikTok. And we will see you all next time. Bye.
Yay!
Oh, I loved that so much.
Good.
Oh my gosh. That was so wonderful. Thank you.